turned things around with grace and poise and power. Same situation, handled completely differently by two people. And of course, the humor is the two people that handled the situation differently, they're twins. So it doesn't get any closer to, one got it and one's still working on it. So you want to be careful of that temper and that sense of willfulness and fixation and pushing against. Why would that be? Leo is not only is Leo fiery, it's a fire sign. Leo pushes against. It's a fixed sign. So if you're too rigid, this is not going to go over well. And my concern is an eclipse, the energy, the frequency, the vibration is in full play for anywhere from 6 to 18 months. Now, if I wrap that into, and you got to follow here with me, if I wrap that into the fact that this is a sowing seed year, it's a sowing seed month where you've got to be extraordinarily purposeful and purpose-filled. You could see this then, the person was almost swept away one way or another. So be careful, because those who are misguided will feel this energy for perhaps misguided purposes, while the rest of you may feel the inspiration, because the word inspiration has the word spirit in it. So spirit is fire. So you will use the fire, the inspiration, for a much better purpose. And from what I'm seeing about purpose now, the purpose has got to be about self-healing. I've tried to look at it every which way. I've taught, okay, yes, we have to extend the hand. No, we don't. You have to extend the hand to yourself before you can extend it to someone else. And your self-healing, I'll harp on it. First, it's your body. Second, it's your mind. And it's just cutting out those thoughts that you're putting your precious energy on, and the thoughts are junk food. If you know enough not to eat the fast food, well, they call it a hamburger. I'm not quite sure what it is. But if you're still foolish enough to eat that poison, then it's going to be harder for you to discern the poison and the toxicity of a certain thought. And yes, you're going to have thoughts that maybe you look back in a split second and go, well, the big thing used to be years ago with all the New Agers, cancel. I don't buy that. I'll tell you what, I think you need to be more in charge and not put it out there in the first place. However, should a thought come, take a quick look at it, embrace it, thank it. Maybe you're the transformer of that thought because you've walked through a whole weeded thought patch with weeds. It hasn't been weeded yet. It's your job to weed it. And by you just look at the thought. The thought could be, that person's ugly. That person's fat. I don't like that person. Thoughts are going to happen. But you don't feed it. You weed it. Maybe that should be a wonderful T-shirt slogan. I don't feed it, I weed it. Well, that's, of course, got many levels to it, depending on what kind of weeding you're doing. Especially now since your buddy has learned all about interesting weeds that are now being grown in the United States that can actually heal and help people. So everyone on the earth is going to feel this energy at once on Monday. Everyone. In your own unique way. This particular eclipse, and incidentally, eclipses happen very often. It's just that this one has a lot of stuff connected to it, which, as I go on, you'll understand what that stuff is. So this eclipse is an extremely clear sign of revolutionary warrior energy. And it's a revolution of conviction. It is a headstrong energy. It is electric. And it will light you on fire. So if you get some wonderful thoughts that day about your life direction, would you please keep a notepad handy and write it down as quickly as you download the information? Certain powers in the world will absolutely try to utilize the energy to create chaos and frustration. And frankly, I'm not too aware of what's just happened in the Carolinas, except that I know it was dreadful. I'm really staying away from the media, but I know it was dreadful. And as I listened to little snippets, I thought, dang, who is creating this chaos? Because they're riding the tail of this eclipse. And I'm thinking, my first thought was, who is paying these demonstrators? That was my very first thought. And why don't these demonstrators have a life and have a job? And I found the demonstrators were more of a trigger point than the actual events. I thought, holy smokes, would you mind your own reality? Do something that's creative rather than destructive. We're not going to change the past. What's that about? You guys are having trouble staying present, so you can change the present by being fully present. So to think in terms of changing the past, no. The revolutionary thought here and my warrior energy would be, drop it. There's no such thing as the past. Let it alone, leave it be, and be right here. One baby step at a time. So, here's some of the things that most likely you will see the eclipse, results of the eclipse. In a fiery and strong way, many of you may open up more to your feelings. And wouldn't that be a concept? And I don't mean the destructive feelings. I mean those feelings that you've buried. Those feelings of rejection and guilt and shame and hurt. And I don't mean you've got to go on Dr. Phil and be analyzed. I mean quietly. You take a final look at your feelings. Look at them with empathy and compassion. It's a valid part of you. And then drop it. And think about the nature of reality and existence. And the nature of reality is, it is changeless, it is formless, it is boundless. It is all-knowing, it is omnipotent, and it's you. Some of you, especially up in the Northeast, when I had my lovely purple pear shops, I often carried the image of Kuan Yin. Now, Kuan Yin is the goddess of mercy, compassion, and protection. And often she would be sitting on a lotus, standing on a lotus. Well, recently, this whole week, because I'm so attuned to these gateways, and I am working it. I mean, gateways now got to be tattooed onto my forehead so that if you stumbled across me, you'd look up and go, there's the word gateway. At any rate, I have had the vision, and it's such a lovely vision. See a lotus. Just put one imaginingly in your hands and see yourself sitting in it. You become the Kuan Yin that you are. And that's reality. That's existence. And as I see myself sitting in this thing, it's actually one of the Osho cards for those of you who have that deck. And for those of you who don't, I'm bringing some up to the Northeast with me, so get ready. But it's a lovely card, and it just shows you and myself sitting in this beautiful thing, completely open to all existence, because that is who you are. You are existence. This eclipse will instill electricity in you and a bold willpower, and certainly rejuvenated inspiration and energy. I can tell this is already in place, because this morning I spoke with someone, and as we were speaking, she said, "Wow, I feel good. I feel better." And the lovely woman that I mentioned last week on my show that was hopeless, guess what? I spoke with her earlier in the week. I guess it was the end of last week. The sense of hopelessness is gone, and she's feeling energized and inspired. So this is all the power of existence moving itself through me, simply because I'm getting clean. The cleaner you are, the brighter you are, then it's easy to just sort of beam that ray of wellness to the next guy. You are a beamer. How could you not be? You're starlight. And this, I believe, is our destiny. I believe it's our purpose. And yes, you may need a day job. Actually, it doesn't really matter what kind of day job. Just live purposefully. You don't have to become a brain surgeon. You don't even need a degree. You are a degree, and you are enough as you are. So I'm thinking that this great energy, this warrior thinking energy, will inspire everyone, from the good, the bad, the clear-minded, and the confused. It'll inspire each and every person. If you're insisting on remaining in a state of confusion, I honor that. I might not endorse it for you, but I honor it. It's where you seem to be getting the most amount of suffering, and through suffering, you'll finally understand you can put that down. So it's an extremely important thing. Now, here's some stuff that's come across. Where do I want to go next? Yeah, there were many different takes on this thing, on this eclipse. Of course, some of what you'll see out there, very sort of, maybe very biblically oriented. Some of it a little too much for myself, but on the other hand, it does talk about not only the United States, but its connection to Israel. And the fact that we're stepping into that final month before Rosh Hashanah, where forgiveness is so important. You need to forgive yourself. You need to put down your stuff. You need to put down your gripes with anyone and everyone. Whether it's the gripe against the neighbor's dog, or the gripe against who's ever in office. I will remind you, because people still seem to be griping about that. Whoever wound up in that office is a reflection of your stuff. And you better mold that one, because that's the truth. So if you don't like what's happening there, you do you. You get well. That's the only way to fix it. There's no other way. All right. So one of these things went into the idea that, he prefaces it by saying, what's almost like a warning label on the cigarette package. Warning, this is not an end of the world prediction. And the truth is, it's not. None of this stuff is. And yet, see, I look at end of the world a whole lot differently than probably a lot of people. I look at every second as the end of the world, and every day is the end of the world. And that way, I can go clear tomorrow creating a new world, because this one's done. So, and in many cases, I want your world to end. It's been pretty crummy, the world you've created. So yeah, I want that one to end. I don't necessarily endorse you leaving a body. I think you'll create a little better and more easily in the body. But I'm not sure about that either. I think there's great work being done by the higher order of those that have moved to a position of greater